Hello everybody, it's Giltar here with part 2 of my review on the Mode Lock Falke made by Kotobukiya, a plastic model, and it's an economy line type of model, so it's quite cheap. Normally it's about $8 or $9 American. I got it for about 1 or 2 due to sale pricing. Now in part 1 I went over just the basic sculpt details, their articulation and the accessories. And here in this part I'm going to go over sort of the pros and cons list and my final thoughts. Now just to start off, this model unfortunately has more negative aspects than positive. I'll start off with the fact that it is advertised, as far as I've seen, as supposedly a highly posable model. Unfortunately it is not. It is not anything special compared to your average high-grade model kit by Bandai for Gundam models and other mecha. Even I'll just put this here, even by the standards of the RX-782, this version was produced in I think 2001. This model actually has equal ability as the RX-782 from like 8 years ago. It's not that great overall, unfortunately, for posability. That's a big problem. Part of it is due to, I think, the design of the Falke. Maybe Kotobukiya stayed a little too close to the concept art and didn't adjust parts of the model design to allow it greater range of movement. So that's, unfortunately, that's the biggest point of negativity that I have about this model kit. The second one is the fact that the head design is pretty poor. It looks great, but it's these ear antennas clip into these small holes on the side of the head, which are kind of oval. The only problem is the pegs on these antenna are round, they're circular, so they fit, but they have too much wiggle space, and they tend to fall out a lot. The head itself is just two pieces, two halves. It doesn't stay together too well, and as you saw in the first part of this video review, it just kind of crumbled on its own when I was just trying to simply turn the head on the sort of awkward ball joint that's the ball is placed on the rear of the peg, so it doesn't even allow a full 360-degree turn for that. So that's another sort of, touching upon the whole articulation issue. So it's just, this is sold as a snap-together model kit that says you don't need to cement or glue it. I definitely recommend that if you do get this model kit, you cement and glue the head together, the two halves together, and possibly the ear bits, because if these were designed with pegs that were oval rather than circular so that they would actually fit the holes on the sides of the head, they would be pretty secure, but they just don't work. So I mean, they fall off way too easily, and I would hate to have someone have to cement or glue the ears in, because it'd be neat if you could take the model apart if you need to paint it or adjust it or customize it. So that's another mark against it as well. It's just really bad design of the head component. Another point is, actually, I'll bring it up now, and it's probably something you can't see on the camera, but this is the sort of fully formed right hand, or left hand rather. These, I left the nubs on because just to show something I found out during assemblies, that on the bottom part of the fist, the nub meets sort of flush with the bottom part. It's just a flat surface, so you just remove it and you're fine. Unfortunately, the top part of the fist, there's actually a recess, an indentation where the nub goes right into, so that you can remove the nub, but you're gonna have a little stump left over, and it's very difficult to remove with a hobby knife, with sandpaper, or with nippers, because it doesn't allow you enough space to get rid of it. So I think that's a big negative point in terms of production of the model parts on the runners, on the gates, because it's really poor placement. Another example of poor placement, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. This is the, and you'll see like the model here, it's missing its left arm because I had to take off the arm to show it. Basically, this is the shoulder part, the bicep, and this is the ball joint. Geez, I don't know if you can see it, but if you can sort of make out, there's irregularities on the middle section of the ball joint where the nubs are left over. The ball joint is so small, you can't get in there to clear it off with a hobby knife or clippers or nippers easily. So I just left them on for the purposes of this review. I'll clear them off with like a hobby knife slowly later on, but it's too much trouble, and because of the fact that these are ball joints, why didn't Kotobukiya just simply put the runners, the gates, attached to the ends of the ball joints, so you can simply just snip them off? Even if they're, you know, poorly done, they're concealed at all times. When you snap it into a joint, you won't see the end. So I see no reason why you have to put the plastic components in the molding process on the center of sort of this little dumbbell type shaped double ball joint. It just doesn't make sense. It's just I don't think it's that difficult to mold the parts any other way. So those are the negative aspects, and I will say right now, even at normal price of $9, I don't know if I can recommend this model kit to anybody, because at that point, at this size and expectations of posability, you might as well get like the robot Damashi version of this model, which is I think nearly $40 American. But I mean, at least with that, I think every penny you spend on that, you get what you pay for. With this, even at my at a $2 price point that I got this on, pretty much, I don't know if I'd say it's worth it, because it just has so many flaws that bring it down. It's really unfortunate, because this is definitely a model kit that has so much potential. It's got great details, but it's just ruined by the fact that it's not that functional as a model that is advertised as something that should be more functional. Actually, I'm just reminded about something. I mentioned it in my preview video where I sort of anticipated one of the flaws of the model is just the fact that it uses ball joints for all the areas of all the joints, rather, and it sort of exposes them when you move them, and it may not look that good. This is one example. The knee joint here is really tiny. So this huge chunky thigh, even chunkier sort of calf and lower leg, and with this tiny sort of skeletal joint in between for the knee. The same thing goes with the ankles. The arms aren't too bad, but I mean, that's what I mean by just, if you use a pure ball joint system to connect things, everything that's done well in terms of the model design, the aesthetics, are sort of marred by the fact that you have these tiny little joint pieces. So that's one of the other sort of flaws. Ultimately, yeah, that's again, like I said earlier, it's a shame that it has so much potential that's just ruined by, in my opinion, poor execution. So, I mean, those are the cons. The good points are pretty much already mentioned about the fact that it has a good design, good sculpting for the most part. And I will point out some oddities, though. On this runner, there are two bits left over. These two sort of rectangular cubic things. They're supposed to be, I think, alternate bicep components, but the instructions don't mention them. They don't point them out anywhere in the instructions, but I'm assuming they are, because the difference between these bicep components and the normal one is that the normal one is actually, if you can see, it's flared out on the side to give it sort of more of a interesting look than just straight flat down on both sides. So that's interesting. Also in the instructions, they state that if you clip these two parts here, where you can see these two sort of ball joint parts, actually you clip them off and it becomes kind of like a stand piece. The last part of the instructions show that right here. It's like a stand for like an action-based type of setup, but the only thing is, it's got the stand, but it doesn't have the base. So I don't know, do you buy it separately, the base for the action stand? I guess so, because even in here it doesn't elaborate. There's nothing on the back. This is all there is for the instructions, so I find that kind of strange too. But oh well. And also, just for size comparison, here's the RX-0 high-grade Unicorn Gundam, which is again sort of a tall high-grade kit in the first place. And the Falke with the head is about that tall. So yeah, the Falke is about average size for a 1 to 144 scale kit. Now, I'll say one more time, I can't recommend this, unfortunately, even if you get a discount, unless you want to sort of be frustrated by all the points where this model kit falls short, where it could have really shined as like an $8 economy kit. Like, this is, I think, has the potential to be a fantastic kit. It's just that it's got so many flaws, and it's not one single flaw that brings it down. It's the succession of several flaws that just weigh this product down. So I can't recommend it. If you do get it, you might have a better experience than me. Maybe you will be more forgiving. But I just personally, I don't know. For all the extra work you have to do, I don't think it's worth it. So thank you for watching. This is my review of the Mode Lock Falke by Kotobukiya. Stay tuned. I'll probably have some more reviews or videos up in the next little while. So yeah, thanks again for watching.